I'm about to see a haunted room at the Reed House in Chattanooga. Stay tuned. Beautiful hotel. Art Deco, all the fixtures, Tower of Terror elevators. Pretty awesome. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have watched that YouTube video with the Tower of Terror. I'm having some flashbacks. Phone booths. But check that out. That's just really cool. Old-timey telephone. That's even before the olden days when Miss Susan was a child. No ringtone. Oh well.
And trying to get it open. Yeah.
Happens all the time. What's your name?
I'm John Spalding.
At the Reed House in Chattanooga?
Yes.
Okay, tell me the story.
Absolutely. So, 1847, it began in 1847 when Thomas Crutchfield built the Crutchfield House on this property. It was a hotel to start with, and it quickly became a center of hospitality here in the South. The Crutchfield House. And however, it was taken over, the Crutchfield House was taken over in 1863 to be a Civil War hospital at that point. So September 20th of 1863, we accommodated 500 wounded soldiers all in that one day. Now
that'll bring some ghosts.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Summon the spirits.
That's my point, yep. So that was the last day of the Battle of Chickamauga, a nearby battle and second bloodiest of the Civil War. So it's likely those wounded troops came from there. It's also likely that a lot of people died on this property, not just our permanent guests years later in 311. And yes, hence all the ghosts that you see in the silver ballroom sometimes in the mirrors. So 1867, 2 years after the Civil War ended, the Crutchfield House burned to the ground. It was a lantern fire, actually, caused by a little boy who had knocked over a lantern in the oil room, which made the 3-story wooden building burn to the ground. Now, incidentally, no one died in that fire. There was one gentleman who had a pre-existing condition, I believe, who he was brought out of the fire, and I think he died later, but I don't think that anyone died in the fire. So, or I know that no one did. So, 1872, the property had been sold to John Reed. John Reed saw that the hotel was rebuilt, and it became the Reed House at that point. So we've been open for 152 years now.
Wow.
We're actually the longest continuously operating hotel in the Southeast.
And it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. So in 1926, this 10-story building that you're in right now was built. 1976, here we go. We were put on the National Register of Historic Places in 1976. So as far as the U.S. government is concerned, this building can't be demolished, and the facade has to remain as well.
All right. You gonna show me a ghost?
Yeah.
All right.
If she shows up, but she probably will. But
I left my Ouija board at home.
Oh, good.
Do you want to tell us about the ghost here or in the room?
Oh, in the room. Yes,
all right.
So I usually, my little kids help me find 311, but we'll
I
just
can
walk
read.
there. How's that?
That works.
Yes,
This
ma'am.
is it.
So in 2018, we renovated with a $27 million renovation here at the Reed House. Most of the attention went to this side of the hotel. At that time, we kept Suite 311 as it would have been in the Roaring 20s. That was in order to accommodate our permanent guests without reference to anyone else's comfort. So, without further ado, welcome to the early 20th century.
This is amazing.
So upon entering this room, a lot of people notice this double-bladed fan up here. Puts out a lot of air for 2 blades. This would have been important in the Roaring 20s because we got central air conditioning 30 years later in 1953.
I didn't know that was around then.
In 53, air conditioning. Yeah, good point. Yeah, we were early, I think, on that. So, and then all this furniture is from the time period, including this hall tree over here. This hall tree, however, has the distinction, we think, of having been here original to the room. So this mirror is seen a lot through the years, in other words. And you've got also a rotary phone over here. This one is a real phone. It's not on the phone line currently, but this one back here is on the phone line. So we have to have a working phone in every suite. So this one back here has a dial tone, of course, in case anyone wants to reminisce about a dial tone.
Does anyone ever stay in this room?
Only on occasion in October. So on occasion in October, we allow it for a price. It's $1,311 on Halloween.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then you've got an ashtray right over here, as it would have been throughout the hotel at the time.
When everyone smoked.
Right. And then a vacuum tube radio as well. And,
Wow. Wow. This is a nice suite.
Thank you. So upon entering this room, a lot of people notice the lovely bath, the creepy art,
That is creepy.
yeah.
And no head, but you'll get to that.
Of course. And then the chenille bedspread, but also the bars on the windows. The bars have a history behind them.
Okay.
There was a time, it's a layered history, there was a time when some of our guests would climb out of their lower story windows. They'd hop on the Union Station train across the street from us, bypass the front desk, and not pay their bill. So we put bars on all bottom 3 floors in order to prevent the sleep and dash kind of thing.
Okay.
Now, fire code came in, told us you can't trap people in a hotel, it's a fire hazard, so we took all the bars back down. Except for this room. 311, as you can see, retained its bars. And that was important because in 1931, we had an infamous criminal stay at the Reed House who needed bars on his windows because he was an infamous criminal.
Who was the criminal?
Al Capone.
No way.
Yes, ma'am. So he
stayed in this room.
Yes. So it was 311, this room that he was in. This was 1931. So he had been caught on tax evasion. The only thing they could make stick was tax evasion. He was tried, convicted, brought north from Atlanta towards Chicago, stopped right here in Chattanooga on the way, apparently, on the way to Chicago. So with the police around him. So he got this room with, usually you think of a criminal as someone you'd put in the basement of a hotel, but Al Capone was Al Capone.
He got a suite.
He got a nice suite.
But it was haunted.
Well, there's that. That is true. He got this room. He did not report any paranormal activity while in this room. We have a record of that. Having said that, that's the official record. Having said that, word on the street has it that he never wanted to stay in our hotel again. So, depends on what you believe about Capone. But so anyway, he got this room. He had bars on his windows. The police were out here guarding him on the roof and out front. That would be in order to keep him in, but also to protect him because the man had enemies.
Wow.
I will say though, I think it's ironic, I think it is anyway, that they put a murderer like Capone in the same room in which a murder had happened. So that was 1931 that he was here. 4 years earlier, 1927, is when Annalisa Nevaly's story begins in this suite, 311. Annalisa Nevaly was a San Franciscan. She's our ghost, by the way. She was a San Franciscan, pretty young lady, probably in her early 20s, married. Her husband was on a long business trip. He had left her here probably with a lot of money on extended stay. Mrs. Annalisa left alone with lots of time on her hands, spacious suite, lots of money, no Netflix to watch. Probably got a little bored, a little ennui set in. She went downstairs to the bar and billiards room where she found handsome young gentlemen playing billiards down there. And well, sparks flew, chemistry happened, and Mrs. Netherly cheated on Mr. Netherly several times while at the Reed House. So Mr. Netherly, the shrewd businessman that he was, found out. He, incidentally, he was on a train going north and overheard several other passengers talking loudly about coming back to Chattanooga to see Annalisa again at the Reed House.
Ooh, she got around.
Well, so, yeah, and Mr. Netherly was incensed. He came back on the next train himself, found the Reed House in Chattanooga, found the Reed House, located her room, barged in. She was bathing at the time. He took a straight razor off the counter and slit her throat, cut her head almost completely off, actually. Housekeeping found her a few days later. It was a nasty surprise. It's why we're not surprised if Annalisa Netherly continues to haunt Suite 311.
Does she haunt the billiards room?
I don't know. She's known as the Lady in White around the hotel. I'm not sure about any stories in the billiards room itself. It could be, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. People see her in the hallway sometimes, going around a corner. If you see a woman in a white dress going over here at the hotel, going
Cry like a girl and run.
Sorry.
Or is she a nice spirit?
It depends on who you are. She doesn't like men. Men who smoke in particular, she doesn't seem to like. So there's that. Probably because her husband was a smoker and they matched that profile. I'm guessing that's why.
So he cut her throat and...
I can tell you a few stories. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
He cut her throat and hit the road, and how did they catch him?
Well, Mr. Netherly got away. So here's the thing. He was a wealthy businessman. She would have been considered here in Chattanooga at the time a lady of the night from San Francisco. So the disparity of their social standings probably, I'm guessing, meant that he could pay off the police to sweep it under the tub, so to speak.
So basically, this was the O.J. and Nicole of 1927. Yeah.
Right. That you could put it that way. Yes, ma'am. You could put it that way. But yeah.
Tell us a couple of stories.
All right. So one guy was laying on the bed out here. He felt his wife sit at the foot of the bed by his feet.
Oh wow! Look at that toilet.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was laying on the bed. He felt his wife sit right here. He looked up, and he thought. He looked up, and she wasn't there. There wasn't a physical person there at all. Though he clearly felt someone sitting there. Another couple made it through the night, surprisingly. But they couldn't sleep all night because they thought there was a figure in the corner over there observing them all night. So the scariest story I can tell you, though, is Halloween of 2020. Just, 4 years ago, or 3 years ago, Halloween, 3.5. But Halloween of 2020, they paid their $999 plus tax for the room and didn't make it past midnight. So, I mean, they lived, but they left for another room before midnight. So what happened was the woman of the couple, it was a couple, the woman called the front desk and said to Dennis, our night auditor, he had answered the phone, she said, I need out of this room. I've never seen him like this. I need another room. Talking about her husband, apparently. So Dennis sent Dylan and Lisa up here, 2 food and beverage managers at the time, to help with this couple. So Dylan actually works at Bridgman's Chop House now, our prime steakhouse, best in Chattanooga. He works down there right now. He may be here today. But when Dylan got up here with Lisa, what he saw, what they saw, was the gentleman of the couple was on the floor. He had been drinking. He was shaking and cursing everybody in the room with a dark voice of some sort, like an evil voice. And according to Dylan, the guy was possessed. And sounds like it to me too. So they moved them to another room because we always leave a room open for guests to try to stay here at 311. And I'm not sure what happened to them after that. The only clue I have is that one of the valet guys told me they looked very tired the next day. But yeah, that's a scary story I know of this room.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing me this.
My pleasure, man.
And 311 Reed House, Chattanooga, if you dare. I'm sufficiently weirded out. I'm gonna go have dinner. Thanks for watching.